All right, well, hey, good morning, everybody. We are Sunday morning, rain outside, and I was gonna get a video together last week, and I was sick. Good bit of the week. So today I thought about just taking the bike out, doing a couple things to it in between the rain, and I just want to go over and kind of talk to you about the Husky, the 701 I have, and kind of just talk through some of the upgrades I've done over the last year and how I like the bike. So let's get to it. And the rooster greets everyone. All right, so this is my 2018 Husky 701 Enduro. As you can see, it's all blacked out. So this was something that I bought it this way used when I got it a year ago. So he had all the plastics taken off and painted at an auto body shop. I mean, it looks great. Some of the paint's starting to come off. I did lay it down on the other side, scratched it up just a little bit. Some of the yellow is showing through. So I think what I'm gonna do is actually start replacing these plastics here and there. You can go and buy the black Husky plastics, and you have to buy some of them on the SM model. That's how they're cataloged. And then you can get the front fender from an aftermarket fender. And anyways, those are combo. I'll link what those plastics are. So if you do want that, you can grab those. So I'm just going to start from the back and work my way forward on just kind of what I've done to this bike. So I'm running the Enduro stand, obviously, bags. I did a video on that earlier. Vanash gas cap. So anyone that has one of these bikes knows that these gas caps, people break keys off in them. This was one of the first things I replaced. This is very, very high quality Perun moto rack with extension. So can't really see the extension too well, but so with the extension, it works really well with this Enduro stand pannier topper. Also, of course, we got the Seat Concepts seat. I put one of these on every bike I ever buy. I love these seats with the gripper top. Looks really great on the bike. Going back down here to the back wheel, so we got, so this came on it when I got it, the Flatland Racing rotor protection, rotor guard. I did get the Moto Minded ABS protection. Looks like I think it's a 3D printed mold, but just for a little peace of mind. Going around to this side, so I got Wings exhaust. Sounds great, really high quality, not too loud. I don't want a crazy loud bike because that gets annoying on long rides. So that's been good. Going down to the drivetrain, I run a gold DID chain on all my bikes. The gears are factory, so I didn't change my gearing at all. I got the Vanash guard. As you can see, lets junk out but gives enough protection, which is nice. So it lets mud and grime and leaves and stuff kind of clear out of there without getting bulked up in there. I've got a Tusk extension here too. We'll talk about this kickstand though. It's one of my gripes about this bike. Got the Wings exhaust, carbon covers. These are starting to finally get a little scratched. Kind of makes the bike look good though. It goes along with the theme, with the black and carbon theme, which is great. I've got the Vanash pegs. So these are really high quality peg. It drops at about 1 inch, I believe. And so for me being tall, I wanted that to come down a little bit, give me some more leg room on the bike, which it did. So as you can see on here, this is my MC Cruise module. So this is my cruise control aftermarket that I installed. I've had this now on 2 bikes. Works really good. I'm gonna do a separate video on this, but probably the best aftermarket that you can do with great instructions. Then we've got the Flatland Racing skid plate that came with the bike when I bought it. I probably would have gotten a different plate, probably would have gone plastic, to be honest, but no issues, and it's really not loud. But I also run earplugs, so I don't hear it anyways. So this box right here, this is for my quad lock. This is the power. I can have it switched to constant on, off, or goes by voltage, and it'll auto shut off. So that's for my quad lock charging right there. Running my Enduro stand tank bag. I do have the Raid Garage auxiliary gas tank. So this has been really good. So go around to this side. So I've got the gas tank. Then you run a petcock down here. So I run this off, and I only turn it on if for sure I'm going to need it. But so I actually run this. I've only used a little bit of gas maybe one time, but the other time I can have this off, and if somebody else runs out of gas, I can just disconnect my hose, turn this on, and fill up some gas for somebody. So good option. I know some guys run this a little differently, and they actually don't run the petcock. So you gotta actually, so you run this, if you can see it, you have to install this adapter into your tank. And a lot of guys don't like to do that. You gotta drill a hole, and then put that adapter. Suspension, we'll talk about the suspension here in a second. It is not stock. Let's go up to the bars. So I am running the Husky, I need to fix that. I've got the Husky heated grips, because it's really easy to install these factory into the wiring, which was nice. I will say though, Oxford heat grips are a ton hotter than these. These on high are nowhere near as hot as my Oxfords. So I do kind of miss my Oxfords, to be quite honest with you. These are Circa handguards, black, of course. Double take mirrors. I've got a Vanash bar clamp. I'm running my quad lock. So here's my MC Cruise. You got your power button, your indicator light, and then your set and resume buttons here. And you can increase, decrease your speed as well. So really nice module. They have a couple different layouts for these, but I like this one personally, and it's really thin, which I do like. So we're looking at my dash right now. I run a Britannia Composites fairing. I've ran that on every bike I've almost owned at this point. I've got the DMD device, the 865 tablet. I absolutely love this device. As you know, this is one of the first videos I did was going through some of these features of these devices, and we'll be doing more too. This is my controller for my heated grips. I have USB charging here. This is the Psychic TPMS. I had done a review on this as well. I'm not using that at the moment. I'm using the Fobo 2 TPMS sensors right now and putting that onto, integrating that into the DMD software to see it in here. So we're just starting to use that. So going back to the fairing, so this fairing, this is the Lynx fairing from Britannia. I have the upgraded lights as well. It does have an adjustable fairing, so with this you just kind of loosen those up, and then in mine, so you can see it touches, so with this, with the mount here now, it's almost right there, so you got to kind of lift it up. But as you can see, it goes up pretty far actually. So it gives you good wind protection. They do have a couple different options here. This is the sport version. The touring version comes out probably like this and gives you a ton more wind protection. So personally, I don't hardly ever keep this up. I get enough wind protection from the fairing itself with it in the low position, so I leave it right there. So the other thing I do want to mention is behind this fairing is, so up here I have a whole fuse block area where everything, so I don't run anything to my battery. I run it all back behind this fairing and run it through my relay here, which is real nice. So everything's stored back in here. And so I just got to take this off every time. And to take off this fairing, you got one bolt on each side, and then you do have to, there's two bolts right here, and you do have to take your GPS mount off, but then it just slides right out. So pretty easy. This dash stays on, this dash doesn't come off. It's just this, it's a two-piece. And with Britannia, a lot of these are the same for all bikes. And so if I wanted to change the colors of the bike or anything, I could buy a new face pretty much, and then put my lights in it and change this out. So if I ever went back to stock colors on this bike, I could change this out to a different color, I believe. Installing this is pretty easy. The only modifications on this bike specifically is the front fender. It rides really tight, so you do have to notch it out. Some bikes, I don't think you have to do any modification, but this one, and I tried to take as much or as little as I had to, so it does sit right on top of it. But that was the only thing really that I had to do for this. Talk about suspension next. So this is the 4CS suspension. I'll be honest, I didn't do my due diligence on that suspension before I got this year. Of course, they upgraded suspensions later on these bikes. There's the rooster again. So what I did was I took my bike to Moto Lab here in Southeast Tennessee, and I had him do a new springs, valves, and then we installed the Dalsaggio Ray kit. And so I had heard really great reviews about that. It's one of the cheaper options, I think, to get the suspension to where it needs to be. And so we did that, and it definitely changed the characteristics of the bike. Feels good. This bike definitely performs better going fast as far as suspension goes. But for what I do, it's great. I do tons of forest roads. Do a little bit of, real rocky terrain. But overall, I think this is a good compromise at a decent price. I will say the one thing that I noticed, so I'll measure this and take a picture, but this bike, it stands tall. This bike's actually fallen over on me once, and y'all may have seen the picture of it, but we were having lunch and we came out, the bike was over Had knocked over my buddy's KTM 250 as well, and this bike just sits straight up. I got to be very careful where I park, unfortunately. And so, you know, options are cutting the kickstand. The other option is alt-rider. They make an adjustable kickstand, and it is definitely pricey. I don't know if I want to spend 200 bucks on a kickstand, to be quite honest. So who knows, maybe I can get them to ship one my way, and I can do an install and a review on this bike in particular, because I know a lot of guys that would probably potentially go that route because of that same issue. So this bike sits really high, and I'm 6 foot tall, and I almost regret, I kind of wish I would have lowered the bike when I did all this work, to be quite honest. I think I'm at like 38 inches, maybe 38 inches seat height at this point. So and on the front, so other than that, I've got my guard up front for that rotor, and I got the Fobo TPMS on both front and rear. Those are Bluetooth. Otherwise, I think that's about it. So this bike has about 9,600 miles on it. I did valve checks. I waited a long time to do valve checks after the NEBDR, and they were out of spec a little bit. I had to shim both intakes. All right, so that was the 701 Enduro. Oh, and then one thing I didn't mention was, so I'm running the Motaz Ralzis on the front, and then I'm running Tusk DS, freaking bird. Yeah, all right, so my chickens decided to have a little fun, so I apologize for stopping real fast, but yeah, so we've got about 14 chickens or so. Good old rooster over there. But anyways, appreciate you all watching the video. I apologize, I've been sick, so my voice, I'm a little blah still. So still figuring out this whole vlogging, recording, being in front of a camera. It's strange. It's just strange to be looking into a camera, not talking to a person. So we'll get used to it as we do more videos. I'm really waiting for some better weather. Work's been crazy as well. So plan is to get some good content out on the bike. I don't really want to sit behind a table and do gear reviews. That's really not my big plan for the channel. I want to be out there with other people, you all, trips, events, rallies, different things, getting some just great footage, wrecks, you know, whatever. People love wrecks on YouTube, my goodness. Every time I post a BMW short that's wrecking, it gets triple the views of anything else. So people love that. So anyways, if you have any questions about the bike, let me know. To me, it's really one of the do-it-all bikes. If you don't want a big adventure bike, but you don't want a small 250, 300, it's a master of none. But it gets the job done, and it cruises well on the road. Like, I've taken it and I've done, you know, hours. So on the Northeast BDR, we rode up, and so on the way back down, we took back roads all the way back down to the car in New York. So, you know, we did about 400 miles, I think it was, on the road, cruising 65 typically. And it did great, especially with cruise control. That helped a ton. So I was very happy to have that to give me a break. So that's a plus. But I will say, stock form, it would not be the bike for me. So if you're looking to buy a bike as is, you don't have a ton of money to put into it. I've put a lot of money into this bike. Luckily, I got a great deal on it used. I would have never bought this new and paid the price and done all the upgrades. There's no way. I'd have way too much in the bike. And right now, there's just tons of options out there. And so I think, like with all these Chinese companies coming out with these 450s, I hope the other companies are going to take notice and really start to up the ante, because from a tech perspective, I will say though, the tech, and I'm a tech guy, but some of the new tech, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, you don't want to break down. And so sometimes less is better. So I know a lot of you guys love the tech, but it can be a hindrance when you're out, especially KTM. I mean, KTM pushes the limits on their bikes, but they tend to also sometimes have issues with electronics. And so that's one of my worries with the newer stuff. That's why on this one, being an 18, it has ABS and that's it, which I like. So there's really not a lot to go wrong with that bike electronically, unless there's an issue with fuel injection. So anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.